In a digital world dominated by the internet, people are still captivated by books printed on paper. At the Hong Kong Book Fair 2016, masses of readers young and old gathered for the week-long event all about reading and writing. The fair boasted not only seminars, book parades and performances, but also storytelling and sharing sessions from some of the world's most recognizable names. Among them, Sarah Howe, who won the T.S. Eliot Prize last year for Loop of Jade, a collection of poems exploring her Chinese-British background.
My family moved to England when I was 7. I didn't come back to Hong Kong for 10 years after that. But when I did start to come back, I pretty much straight away started to write poems. So there was something about returning that I think tapped into the part of me that would become a poet. Well, I came back with my mum that first time, and it was very strange for me in lots of ways, because I guess it was that first time I'd ever experienced this clash between very, very early memories of Hong Kong as a place and the actual place. There's one poem I'm really proud of. It's called Crossing from Guangdong. And it tells exactly that story of one of the early trips that I made back to Hong Kong. Earlier, I really vividly remember getting the Star Ferry across the harbour. And I guess the poem ends on this idea that the ferry is turned always home, whichever direction it's pointing. It's not the destination that matters, it's the fact of the journey.
Organized by the Hong Kong Trade Development Council, the fair attracted an international lineup of writers like award-winning French psychologist Elizabeth Brahmi. She's published more than 100 books aimed at getting young people to pick up titles, not tablets.
Sometimes, technology is a bit annoying because it stops people from expressing their feelings. For example, instead of saying, "I'm happy," they use emojis. This is too simplistic. This way of communicating is how monkeys do it. However, human beings have more developed abilities. They can use words to symbolize meaning. That's the strength of humans. We have language, and through literature, we can learn how to respect language.
More than 600 exhibitors from over 30 countries and regions showed off their books at the fair, with newcomers from Chile, Germany, Indonesia, Iran, Portugal, and Russia. And there was an art gallery showcasing the event's theme, Chinese martial arts literature. Some authors used the fair to help international readers better understand Asia, seizing the opportunity to promote their books in Hong Kong to the rest of the world. Mark ONeil was at the event to talk about his 6th book on Chinese history. This one on how thousands of crates of priceless Chinese art crossed the country for 16 years before ending up on display at the 2 palace museums in Beijing and Taipei.
It's not only a very dramatic story in historical terms, it's about these very wonderful works of art, but it's also a very important political, diplomatic and historic story. Of course, a Chinese scholar knows more about these topics than I do. So if you wanted a book on this topic, you could probably go to a scholar in Taiwan or a scholar in Beijing and you'd get a more detailed and comprehensive book. But I think they think that to have a Westerner write it gives a different spin, a different outlook, a different kind of explanation.
As one of Hong Kong's most popular cultural events, the book fair was a place for participants to learn from some of the world's best writers. At the open public forum hosted by entrepreneur Sir David Tang, filmmaker and writer Hannah Rothschild, journalist Simon Winchester, and historical fiction writer Wilbur Smith shared their insights as authors. The event will return to Hong Kong next year.